everyone, what is going on? And today I finally got around to editing up my Hanzo guide video. What you're seeing here is we're on the practice range. I'm going to go through his abilities, tell you guys how I like to use him, and we'll go through some of my gameplay and show you how I like to use him and just what he's good at. And this is just meant to help you guys get better with Hanzo yourselves, and show you some new ways potentially to use his abilities, and show you why I personally like him. He's probably my favorite character in this whole game at the moment, and I choose him over Widowmaker as a sniper a lot of the time. So I'm gonna tell you guys why I do that, because not many people understand that, and Widowmaker is the widely accepted sniper in high-level competitive play, and yet I've been fairly successful with Hanzo, in some tournaments and things like that. So getting right into it, hero details here. We pressed Y. The ultimate, you have Dragon Strike, launches a deadly dragon spirit that devastates enemies as it passes through. Now this thing passes through literally the entire map. No walls, no ceilings, no floors, no nothing. Nothing can stop it, no shields, none of that. It just goes straight through the whole map. So the issue with this is you have to be on like a level-ish playing field with your enemies. If you're up above them or if you're down below them and you fire it up or you fire it down, it's going to go on a downward angle, it's going to go on an upward angle, it's going to go on that slope. And it's just going to go straight through the bottom of the map or just straight up into the sky, and it's not going to do that much. Whereas if you're on an even level with your enemy and you fire it, it will go literally forever through the whole map from where you fired it on towards the direction that you fired it. So this can be this, in my opinion, is probably the best, if not one of the best, if not the best ultimate for clearing payloads. Maybe not getting kills on the payload, but it can definitely clear off payloads on defense extremely well. It can also clear off capture points in that mode really well. Overall, it's just a really good slaying ability if you see a group of enemies, or even, if there's something that you don't want to deal with. For example, a Reinhardt with a shield up, you can literally fire this ultimate directly at the Reinhardt. Chances are there will be a few more enemies hiding behind the Reinhardt, and this thing will just literally just go straight through his shield and just do a ton of damage to him, if not kill him outright. And I feel it's absolutely one of the best ultimates in the game. It's very common in public matches for you to see this as a play of the game, and it's just a really good ultimate. For his left bumper, you have Scatter Arrows, splits into multiple ricochet arrows on impact. This is so underrated. First of all, its main usage is killing enemies around corners, killing enemies around walls. If an enemy is weak and they run away from you, they run into a room where you can't see them, or run around a corner where you can't see them, you can angle this arrow so that it kills them around the corner. You can shoot this into a room and it will do a ton of damage to anyone in that room. It just creates a web of just death in that room. It just, the ricochets are crazy. But not just that, you can also just shoot it directly at your enemy's feet, and all the scatter arrows will bounce straight up into your enemy. So if you're facing an attack character or even a tank or anything like that at close range, these scatter arrows are lifesavers. I know from firsthand it can be really annoying to get killed by this, but if you shoot a scatter arrow at feet, all the arrows just go bounce and go up and embed themselves in their bodies, and usually kill them in one shot. One pull of the scatter arrow. It can be pretty annoying for them, but it definitely is a lifesaver for Hanzo. It's one of his best close range options, unless you get really good at headshotting with your regular bow and arrow at close range. So yeah, just a really solid tool overall for anything that you want to do, whether it be putting on damage all at once by shooting it off the ground, or whether it be by finishing off weakened enemies around corners. The Sonic Arrow is his right bumper attack. For you console players out there, obviously on PC it's going to be different, but this reveals enemies for a short time upon impact through walls and for your teammates. This thing is essentially Widowmaker's ultimate ability on a smaller scale and for a little bit less time. And it's really not even that much less time. It's just on a smaller scale, really. So if you place this well, especially like in payload or well, all the objective game modes, really, every game mode in Overwatch is objective. So these things are just so good because you can just shoot them on the payload and know exactly where your enemies are, or shoot them in a room and know exactly where your enemies are. You can shoot them behind you, in front of you, towards your enemy spawn to see when they're coming. It's just so good, and I feel like it's almost like having Widowmaker's ultimate in your back pocket, which is why I feel Hanzo technically is better and has more potential than Widowmaker does, is because he practically has her ultimate on a little bit of a smaller scale, but not, if you use it effectively, it's almost. And the same with Scatter Arrow, for example. Widowmaker has like an assault rifle and then her sniper rifle, right? They're both hit scan weapons, but with the Scatter Arrow, or even with, the regular bow, if you get really good at close range with it, Hanzo has more close, medium, and long range potential than Widowmaker does. Hanzo is far more aggressive of a sniper than Widowmaker could ever be, and he can play a Slayer role up close if you get really good with him as well. So that's why I feel that Hanzo has more potential, and that if you get good with him, he's the better all-around character in my opinion. So yeah, the Sonic Arrow is very, very good. Obviously, we have his Storm Bow here. Hold to charge, then release to launch arrows further. That's obviously a right trigger attack. He just always has his bow. Really, really solid. Very, very difficult to use. I'm not saying it's not hard to use because you do have to lead your targets. It is not a hit. It's not a hit scan. It fires actual projectiles, so you have to lead your targets. You have to account for arrow drop as well. The arrows will drop off at long range. So it's definitely difficult to use, but against other snipers, I feel like against Widowmakers, this bow can kill Widowmakers better than any other thing. So if you're counter sniping, Hanzo, in my opinion, is better than Widowmaker in that situation as well as in close quarters. But like I said, it's definitely you have to practice with it. You have to have that instinct of leading your targets depending on how they're strafing or how they're jumping. And later on, when you get better and better with the Stormbow, aiming for the head becomes increasingly important. But if you can get really, really good with it, it's definitely amazing. All right, so do not shy away from Hanzo just because you're afraid of using his bow. You're not very good with it at first. It definitely takes practice. And his passive is wall climbing. He's just like Genji, where he can literally just climb any walls. It's not an extended climb, so you can't climb over every single wall in the game, but it allows you to get up to vantage points really, really quickly. And once again, this is a passive ability, right? Widowmaker has her grappling hook, which has to reach, it has a cooldown every single time, which, it allows her to get to high places and things like that, but it has a cooldown. Obviously, the upside to Widowmaker's grapple is she can get away from enemies really quickly. If she shoots it behind her at a wall and just goes towards that wall, she can run away using that grapple hook. But really, the main usage of Widowmaker's grapple is to get to higher places, higher vantage points for her sniper angles, and Hanzo can do that as a passive ability. He doesn't need an actual or bumper ability to do that. So that's another reason why I just feel Hanzo is just a better all-around character if you can get good with him. Better sniper than Widowmaker. So anyways, guys, yeah, we're going to transfer over into some gameplay here. I'm going to run on the practice range, show you a little bit of what Hanzo can do. Obviously, you see right here his sonic arrows. And, if I go behind this wall, you can see these enemies through the wall. Very, very useful. And then also his scatter arrows. Boom. Right there, right at the feet of the bot. You can literally just destroy them in one shot. If you get really good at aiming for the head, do that as well. Aiming for the head is very, very important later in the game. Like I said before, it's definitely something that you need to get good with, especially hitting moving targets in the head, like that. And just doing your best to aim for the head. His ultimate kind of speaks for itself. I mean, look at this thing. I have the wolf skin on, so it actually turns into wolves, and as you can see, it just keeps going. It just doesn't stop for the entire map, and it'll go on into the distance for the entire game. So you know, those are his abilities right there. You know, if you wanted a quick look at him, and you know, I hope you guys that gives you a better idea of what he can do. And obviously here, we'll try and climb this wall here for you guys to see how he climbs walls, just like that, and you can get up to this vantage point. And again, you know, you do have to account for arrow drop a little bit. The friendly bot just killed that bot for me, but yeah, that's fine. And once again, you know, aiming for the head at close range, very, very important if you can do that. And like I said, you have to aim a little bit higher up on enemies in order to hit them at long range, and then you have to also lead your targets in order to hit them while they're moving side to side, which can be a little difficult. As you can see, I'm choking a few shots here, but it definitely gets easier and easier with practice. Obviously, it's just something that comes naturally. These bots aren't necessarily moving how I'm used to normal players moving either, so it's kind of difficult that way as well. And it's definitely more and more difficult the longer range that they are at. But like I said, practice makes perfect, right? So now we're going to transfer into some gameplay, and we're going to talk about Hanzo. We're going to talk about, like, because I'm going to show a few clips here, because, like, he's just so good. I just love him so much, man. He's absolutely my favorite character in the game. I mean, he just looks badass too, like with my skin and everything. Like, look at this skin. Look at it. Look at this skin here. Fucking amazing skin, all right. And just like, it's just so cool. He's awesome. And the lore behind him, he's Genji's brother, and all that kind of things. He's just such a cool character, and his ability to compete at both long and close range is unrivaled, in my opinion. Once you get really good with him, you'll see a few clips of me just completely headshotting Reapers at close range, and then switching immediately to long range to headshot, say, a Mercy or a Soldier, a Genji. His playmaking ability, once you get good at hitting headshots at close and long range, is so solid, and just knowing his abilities inside and out is it's unparalleled. It really is. So I highly suggest you try him out. You get good with him. Do not aim for the head at first, guys, because it's very difficult. It really is. So just kind of take your time. Aiming for the head will come later when you've actually, you know, practiced a lot with him. So don't worry about that right away. Once again, you know, remember to use your scatter arrows as often as possible. Use your sonic arrows as often as possible. See where your enemies are through walls. That's very useful for leading your targets. You know, if they're coming around a corner or anything like that. Highly suggest using that. Scatter arrows, you know, obviously shooting enemies around corners and things, or at close range, using your scatter arrows to just completely annihilate people at their feet is just super useful. So, you know, kind of just reiterating all that kind of stuff. So yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And please, once again, I said this in like 3 videos so far, but please go down in the comment section below. Let me know which character you want me to review next, because there's a lot of characters in this game, and I'm not necessarily good with all of them. So I'd like to learn with you guys. So we're gonna change hero here. You know, look at all these characters here. I'm only good with like maybe half of them. Okay, so tell me what characters you guys want me to review next, because, you know, whether it be a character you're having trouble with or whether it be a character that is one of your favorites, I will review it, and I will show you guys maybe some better strategies on how to use them, what maps I like to use them even, and yeah, we'll run it like that. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video.
Enemy turret ahead!
The payload has reached the checkpoint. My aim is true. The payload in motion.
Heroes never die.